Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about what to do if you are not learning from your medical billing and coding program. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys. So sometimes people get themselves into fast-paced medical coding programs because a school sold them, oh yes, you can learn medical billing and coding in less than 4 months, and we're going to get you on your way to a high-paying career. Well, little do they tell you that this is just a sales gimmick, because you cannot learn medical billing and coding in less than 4 months. And even if you do, it's not even going to be anything to scratch the surface. There is so much to learn. And even if you did take my advice and you've gotten into a program that was a year, sometimes 18 months, and you're just like, Blue, I'm still not learning anything. My teacher won't help me. They get really upset if I try to ask questions. And so I don't ask anything. And I'm just sitting here just like, I can't figure anything out. So here's some tips today to kind of help you through that. Sometimes it is the materials that are being used for that class. There is a book out there that a lot of these fast-paced schools like to use. I'm not going to say because I don't like it. And the reason that I don't like it is because it explains things in a way that's sort of very convoluted for new people to understand. The way that particular book is written, and I don't want to mention the book. Please don't make me mention the book. But the way that it's explained is like for people who have experience to understand, okay? So the books that I recommend are in the description box below. The ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS Coding Handbook with the Answers by Nellie Leon Chizen. Even if you are not studying for ICD-10-PCS, you can skip those questions certainly and just stick with the ICD-10-CM questions, because that book is very comprehensive for learning diagnosis coding. It is the best learning material for learning diagnosis coding. And then of course there's the CPC study guide. Even if you're not taking the CPC exam covers majority CPT coding. And since we all use the same CPT code set as medical coders, you can certainly learn from that book. It does not mean that you have to take that test. Please don't. If you've already decided which certification you want to take, stick with it. Don't be flip-floppy. Don't add additional credentials, okay? All you need is one. And right now your main problem though is trying to figure out the school thing, right? So let's look at all the books that you've got. And if you say, well, I have this book and it doesn't make any sense, and I think I'm going to try to find the Nellie book, but Blue, I don't have the Nellie book as the ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS Coding Handbook with the Answers. But Blue, I don't have money to be spending for books. You know what the great thing about the public library is that it's free. All you have to do is go into your public library, sign up for a library card, and then you can look for the coding books that they have. Sometimes they have coding workbooks that are a couple of years old, but that's okay. You could still learn from those books. And especially if you live in a bigger city, there's going to be more opportunity for more books, right? Because sometimes these people, they'll donate, their coding manuals and things like that to the public library, and that is how they get them into their circulation. And if anything, sometimes you can get with a really good librarian, and they will ask another library if they can borrow their book for you. So that there's always that possibility. So look at the books that you're using. And if it is a book issue and you don't understand, try looking for those, the CPC study guide anywhere in the public library system, or the ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS Coding Handbook with the Answers by Nellie Leon Chizen. Try to find those two books, and those will help you to learn those parts of coding, ICD-10-CM, ICD-10-PCS, or CPT. It will really help you, because those are the best books, I think, for new coders to learn on. I have my independent study that is in the description box below of this video, and it's got the breakdown of the time that you should spend with the subject. Some subjects you're going to go a little bit faster, some you're going to go a little bit longer. It really all depends on you. But it's also a thing that you can use to supplement your fast-paced school, or your school where you feel like you're not learning everything that you need to learn, okay? It is okay to do two simultaneous things at once as far as study. That's okay. I did it when I was learning for ICD-10. When ICD-10, CM, and PCS came out in October 2015, when it went live, a year before, at my workplace, they had us going through a program for to learn ICD-10 CM and ICD-10 PCS. And then at home, I was fortunate enough to go through a program there as well. So I was able to learn at home as well. So whatever my employer's program did not cover for ICD-10 CM and ICD-10 PCS, the home program did. And so vice versa, so I was able to get the best of both worlds. I was able to learn very comprehensively. And because of that, I have not struggled. I have not struggled with injury coding. And whereas like my coworkers, they struggled because they only had one program to go through. And injury coding is one of those things that it takes a fine ear to figure out, and it takes practice, obviously, but that's just one of the things that is part of learning coding. And so getting creative and thinking outside of the box, okay, like if this workbook is not working for you, then try these other two workbooks. And the other thing about going through a fast-paced program, and you say, well, Blue, I'm not learning from my teacher doesn't want to answer my questions. I ask a question and they don't respond to me. Okay, so then let's just take that off the table. If you know that if you tried to ask questions to your instructor, should they help you? Absolutely. But for whatever reason, sometimes these instructors get overwhelmed. They have too many students, because it's not unusual to hear about hundreds of students being in a class. Why? Because a lot of times by the time you get a couple of weeks into it, people are starting dropping like flies. And so that's why they overfill the classes. And of course, now everybody's trying to learn because they're really excited. And then they drop out like flies. And then so it leaves a few people. So sometimes, you may get luckier further into your program as there's less people. But then again, if your instructor is not teaching you anything and you've tried, okay, let's just take that frustration off the table. Just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. There's nothing that you can do because the money is already spent. You can't get your money back. All you can do is complain, but who's going to listen to complaints unless you're in a Facebook group, right? So take that off your plate. Just take it off your plate. And let's focus on, okay, my teacher won't help me. Where else can I find resources to help me? You can go on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you can create a free account, okay? Now, LinkedIn is very key for new medical coders, new medical billers and coders, because of the simple fact that this is where you can start to build your network. This is where you can start making connections, even while you're in school, while you're looking for a job, and any of these other things, right? So what you want to do on LinkedIn, though, is keep in mind that LinkedIn is where all your future coworkers are. And it's very easy to get a reputation based on how you present yourself on LinkedIn. So you want to get a nice headshot of yourself, not one that has a filter on it and a little button nose or any of those little cute little ears. This isn't Facebook, okay? This isn't Instagram. This is a professional website. So if anything, you just take a picture of your face smiling against a blank wall, and that's good enough. It doesn't have to be a professional headshot. It just needs to look professional, okay? So a nice blouse or something, that would be great, okay? Men, a nice top, that would be good too, all right? So that's the thing that you want to present out there. Then if you have a question, you could say, I'm a new coding student and I'm trying to figure out modifier 25. And you give the question there that you're trying to figure out. Don't complain. Don't say, I got into this program. It's a fast-paced coding program and it stinks and I don't like it and the teachers are terrible. No. Leave the complaining for your friends, for your mama, for your daddy. Leave it for them, okay? Do not bring it there. Get right to business on LinkedIn. Write out your question. I'm curious about modifier 25 because of this, XYZ. Whatever your question is, then you ask that question. And then you'll see people start to respond. And then as they respond, more people will respond. Because every time you post on somebody's page or you comment on somebody's page, other people will see that comment in your network. and then their network, and then their network. And that's how it goes. So that's why I tell you all to refrain from complaining. When I see complaining from anybody, a student, a medical coder, anybody, I see anybody complaining, immediately I block that. I don't want that energy around me. I don't want your negativity. I don't want to see you complaining. I don't want to see you crying and going on, because there are resources out there to help you. Okay? So that's the thing. And you don't want to be that person. I've blocked quite a few people because they're out there complaining that they don't understand, and then they're not giving you their question. You know? And then or they're not being directed to the point. So what is the point? What is the purpose of your post? Okay? People will help you, but it's just a matter of you getting right to the point and just putting it out there. Okay? And so that's how you do that. But that's how you start to look for help that way. And if you are still feeling like you need a little bit more one-on-one support, you can go on LinkedIn also, and you can ask, I need a tutor. Who can tutor me? Is there any recommendations? You will see people recommending folks. I am a tutor myself. My rate and contact is in the description box below. So that's something else that you have to know. That's always a thing that you can purchase for yourself. Everybody's going to have different rates. Not everybody charges the same, but it really all depends on that individual. But I would recommend that you find somebody that is an experienced person, not somebody who has been in the industry for less than 2 years. I've seen people who have CPCAs who say that they're a tutor. And while they may have a lot of knowledge, as somebody that's new and studying, or somebody that has been in the industry for a year, they're not going to have as comprehensive a background as somebody who is really experienced, okay? So it's just something you need to look out for, okay? Because it's your dollars. Wherever you choose to spend your dollars to get help is where you will, be spending that time with. So make sure that it's worthwhile and worth your time, all right? But that's just something that's also another option out there for you, is to get that supplemental help. Now, I will say this, that supplemental help, if you hiring a tutor, that will not mean a hill of beans if you are not putting in the time. The time is very important to study. While you may be very upset and mad at the school, at the instructor, because they're not helping you, if you are not putting in the time to learn and to study, that is the problem right there. That is going to be where, okay, you're not putting in the time, so how are you expecting to learn? You need to be putting in 20 hours per week. 20 hours per week. If you are not putting in 20 hours per week, you will not learn this. It will take you longer to learn. And yes, you can put in 20 hours per week. Anybody, regardless of full-time work, regardless of family status, excuse me, regardless of anything, you can put in the time if it is important to you to learn, okay? 30 minutes in the morning, you're getting up, you're getting ready, getting dressed for work or whatever. You could be listening to something. That counts as study time, okay? Whether it is a video about medical terminology, anatomy, pathophysiology, or HIPAA that you can find on YouTube, right? You could be listening to that for 30 minutes while you're getting ready. 30 minutes at lunchtime, you could be going over flashcards. Flashcards you create for yourself to learn, okay? Flashcards could be about anything that you're having trouble with, as far as like if it's the modifiers or anything like that. You could be going through those modifiers while you're eating your lunch, okay? And it only needs to be a deck of 25 at a time. It does not need to be more than that. People go crazy and start writing out hundreds of flashcards. Flashcards will only help you if you are using them. Flashcards will not help you if you are not, if you are writing so many of them that you get so overwhelmed and you just don't know where to start. Write 25 at a time, and when you get good with a card, then you put that aside, and then you keep working until you have you know all of those, and then you move on to a new deck. Or as you're taking a card out, you can add another card in, okay? But I really recommend only doing 25 at a time, because that way you can effectively learn, okay, with the flashcards. I want to sneeze, so that's why. But that's what you have to do with those, okay? So if you're learning with flashcards, that's great. If you're getting a tutor, that's great. But 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at lunchtime, 30 minutes on your drive home, again, listening to something. Then you have 1 hour, you take a break, and in that 1 hour that you're studying, right, you are going to be making sure that you are working through the workbook, okay? Actually practicing looking up the codes and writing out the codes and looking up the answers. And you're going to be covering up those answers so that it's not multiple choice. Because this is a time for you to be studying, not to be learning how to do process of elimination and learning how to pick from multiple choice. Because if you're doing that, that's giving you a false sense of confidence, because once you start going faster, you're like, oh yeah, I got this. But in the meantime, do you really? Do you know? Because no, you don't. All you're doing is picking from multiple choice. You're not learning how to use your book. When you're studying, is the time to learn to use the book. So cover up the multiple choice answers with a sticky note. So that way you can look up the question, look up the answer, and then look at the multiple choice and see if you're right on the money. And if not, then that's where you can identify where your holes are at. Like, where are you needing to get more study in? Is it that you're needing more on the external cause codes or the place of occurrence codes, or if it's a sequencing issue, or if you're just forgetting to add something? That's going to help you to spot those a lot more quickly than trying to work with multiple choice. All right. So that's going to help you to develop and build into a better medical coder as you're going along. So do that, guys. Okay. Cover up those answers, put in the time. So you do 1 hour and then you take a break, because don't go past 1 hour. Anything past an hour, you're not going to focus on what it is. Your brain's already going to be tired. So give yourself a 10-minute break, a 30-minute break, whatever, and then come back to it for another hour. That's 3.5 hours in one day. You do this consistently for 5 days, that's 17.5 hours. And then you have 2.5 hours on a Saturday or Sunday. And then you've gotten your 20 hours in the week. And what you're doing there is you're building discipline, and you're starting to get stronger as a professional, stronger as a medical coder, more competent. So then after a while, you're not going to have to worry about that old silly teacher that you have that is not helping you. You're helping yourself. You're helping yourself. And that's what this is about. And for those of you that say, well, I don't have no money to spend, the public library, they have free books there that you can check out. All right. They have books, and a lot of times they even have some libraries even have online books that they can let you check out. So that's the thing, that is, there's a resource out there that's available to you, and it is free. It's not going to cost you anything. It's just a matter of you going to the public library and checking out what they have there. Workbooks on medical terminology, workbooks on anatomy, workbooks on pathophysiology, and workbooks on medical coding. That can help you, guys. It can help you. But you have to be able to put the time in. And like I said, let go of what's gone. If the teacher's not helping you, they're not going to help you. There's just some people that were just never meant to be instructors at all, period. You know, they are going to be, they're going to put the least amount of effort in because they themselves are lazy, you know? So, I mean, it really all depends on the individual. Not all people are meant to be teachers, okay? And some teachers just get into teaching medical coding because they couldn't make it in the real world with productivity, okay? And again, it's different for every instructor. Not everybody loves it as much as other people do. So for some people, doing this is just a paycheck to them. And for some instructors, it's that same thing. You know, they're doing it for a paycheck, and it shows. It shows, and it's the students that suffer. But it is your responsibility as somebody that wants to get into this career field also to cut your losses and know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And if an instructor will not help you, then you got to learn when to fold that, because you cannot let that bother you. You cannot let that distract you from your goal. It is easier said than done. I get that. I get that. But at the same time, it's for your own benefit that you start to learn where all these resources are at. So again, getting through 20 hours per week, there's not going to be a single person that can stop you. Not one single person that can stop you. And you will start to build your confidence. All right. I do have study trackers that are available. If you look in the description box below, they can be purchased. Or if you're a member of my Patreon, they're on my Patreon channel for my members that are subscribed. The minimum pledge on Patreon is $15 per month. You don't have to subscribe past a month, but you get access to all of the coding quizzes, the study trackers that I post there, and all the other trackers that I have on there. And the study tracker is in 80 hours in a month. That's what you're going to do in a month's time, right? So as you study for 30 minutes or as you study for 1 hour, you're going to color in all of that time. So this is a good visual to make sure that you are staying on course of study. Because what happens is people get really excited and then they do it for a couple of days and then they stop, you know, if they're just telling themselves, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But if you're actually posting a tracker where you can see it, and now you have to fill it in and you have it on the wall looking at you in your study space, and it's staring at you every single time you walk by it, and you're like, yeah, I need to get on my studies. So that's going to help continually motivate you as well. You don't have to you don't have to purchase a tracker from me if you don't want to. It's totally fine, guys. You can make your own. You can make your own. All right. So that's just something that's out there. But like I said, if you're interested, the rate for those trackers is in the description box below, and you know you can let me know from there. But that's the thing, guys. There's options, but you also have to be out there and you have to be applying yourself, okay? Because yes, well, it's not right that you got into a program, you spent all this money and you were taken advantage of because you were sold a dream by the school. You still need to take responsibility for, okay, the money is already spent. I'm going to just go ahead and just, you know, do the best I can with these free resources out here, okay? Now, there's also Just Coding. If you go to justcoding.com, they have a free subscription and a paid subscription. Now, on the free subscription side, they have 5-question coding quizzes. And so they're multiple choice, obviously, yes, but you can cover up those multiple choice answers. You can look up those codes. That's just another way of getting more practice. And yes, it is free. There was this lady that when I mentioned it before, she said, those are not free. And then she comes back, oh yeah, they are free. I would never recommend anything that wasn't free or wasn't low cost without being transparent and telling you about it. You know, again, it is all a matter of you need to do your research, okay? And I'm telling you about it, justcoding.com, all one word, justcoding.com. And they were so generous to make this, and they do these every month, and they have all of these quizzes. They got tons of quizzes that you can go back in on practice on, okay? But like I said, cover up those multiple choice answers. Don't be like these ungrateful people that have told me, oh, those are so easy. If you're looking at the multiple choice, it is easy. It is easy. You're never going to learn if you do that. If you stare at those multiple choices, you're never going to learn, right? So like I said, make sure that you're going through there and you're practicing with those. Look at your coding manuals. If your coding manuals, that has also a big deal to do with it too, okay? Because you may have to spend a few dollars. But if you go to optumcoding.com, OPTUM coding, all one word, optumcoding.com, you will see that they have the Optum coding books. The ICD-10-CM Expert for Physicians is the one that I recommend. I do not recommend the one for hospitals. I recommend the one for physicians. Please do not ask me what is the difference between the two, because like I said, I only recommend the one for physicians. And the ICD-10-PCS Expert, the Spiral Bound, those two books are allowed on the exams. If your exam requires those two books, I know that the CCS and the CCA both require those. You can use your choice of publisher. So the Optum coding books are totally fine for that. Everybody has to have the AMA CPT Professional Edition, and that is also available there. It's at a little bit of a discount, but just make sure that you're getting the full discount, okay? Because it says on the website what the discount is. If you think that if the discount is not showing up, then you need to call customer service. But if you need to spend a little bit of money to get better books, because not all publishers are the same. And not all publishers of ICD-10-CM or ICD-10-PCS are good either. But Optum is the best. I have yet to see any other books, the coding manuals that match up to them, okay? They are fantastic, because even when you go into the tabular section of those books, where all of the codes are at, because you have your index and you have your tabular section in the ICD-10 CM book, and of course in the PCS book, but I'm talking about the ICD-10 CM Expert for Physicians. When you open up that book and you get to the tabular section, at the beginning of every chapter is that specific chapter coding guidelines. And then they have little purple boxes throughout those guidelines. And those are your examples. They give you a question, they give you the answer, and they give you the rationale. Again, if you're covering up the answers and the rationale, and you're looking at the question, you're looking up that code in the book, and you do that for every single chapter that has that, then you're going to get practice throughout the whole book. And again, you doing that is going to prevent you from needing to put on those stupid tabs, the silly tabs. Tabs, writing, highlighting is not necessary at all for coding books, at all. These books are written by doctors and scholars. It doesn't need you to add anything to it. You adding anything to it is a waste of time. It's a waste of time and energy. And when I see like pages that are full of writing, can you even see what is on the book at all? No. And so again, if you excessively write in your book though, and you're taking an AHEMA exam, they can't prevent you from going in, because it does look like you're trying to cheat. And when you're in that exam room and you're taking that test, oh, trust me, there is no time to read anything other than the question and try to get to the answers. There is no time to do anything other than that, okay? To find your answers, to read the question, to comprehend it. There's no time to look at any silly notes. Those notes will not help you, okay? So at least that's just my advice anyway. But like I said, guys, if you found yourself in a fast-paced coding program, you don't have to give up. You don't have to be frustrated. This is what you can do to help yourself, okay? Is make sure that you put in the study time, those 20 hours per week. Don't give me excuses. I don't want to hear it. There's plenty of people that have managed full-time jobs and families and kids and all kinds of things and still managed to make time for something that was important to them. You have 3.5 hours per day. Everybody does. Everybody does. And even though it's not what you feel it would be ideal, like only doing one thing at a time, sometimes you may have to multitask. So if you're trying to eat your lunch and watch a video, that's your multitasking, okay? If you're doing something, you're cleaning around the house and you're listening to the guidelines, you're listening to videos about anatomy and medical terminology, it's all in the name of making you a better medical coder, a more competent medical coder. So that's the thing that you have to keep in mind there. This rigorous study is only going to be for a short amount of time. It's not forever. But it's doing so much to build you up as a professional and prepare you for the real world, prepare you for that exam, and prepare you so that you're not sitting there with all of that unnecessary anxiety when you're going to go take your test. Everybody says, oh, I'm a nervous test taker. There is no such thing when you have prepared yourself. No such thing at all, okay? At least that's just my advice anyway. So with that said, guys, study. Pick up alternative books that will help you to supplement your studies. Look in the description box of my videos to see the free independent coding study syllabus, right? So that way you can look at all those books, look up those resources. And some of those books, if you can't find them, find another book, okay? Go to the public library and get to know the books that they have available there. Again, that's it. With that said, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.